An estimated 1 in 6 people in Britain live in social housing. Britain's housing officers are at the sharp end.
Hello? There is not enough social housing. There's not enough to meet the demand.
They deal with around 10 million people day in, day out.
This is the good part.
Most are good tenants, but some risk everything with their antisocial behaviour.
Right, well, you stop, Jimmy.
We have a problem.
This week, they're tackling tenants who break the rules.
The dark one looked quite vicious to me.
Trying to find homes for those most in need.
They can't release her from hospital because she's got nowhere to go and she needs a new property to move into.
And stepping in when things get out of control.
If they get really desperate and you're taking them drugs, they'll be in here.
Can't stop me.
Well,
We can't stop me.
In Hyde, Greater Manchester, Enforcement Officer Martin Bell deals with the most serious issues affecting tenants. Everything from violent neighbours to criminal activity. Today, he's been called in by Housing Officer Jonathan Plum to deal with a number of complaints from residents at this over-55s sheltered housing scheme.
We've got complaints of antisocial behaviour from this address, visitors coming and going, young males by the sound of it. We've also had complaints of drug use as well in this rear of this property.
The problems began 5 months ago, when 89-year-old Nellie moved into a one-bedroom bungalow on the estate. Martin believes she's broken the rules of the scheme by allowing her 39-year-old grandson to live with her. They think he's at the root of the problems.
Is Darren still coming round? Your grandson?
Well, he comes out. I get a mail, you see, because he hasn't got a permanent address.
Is he living here, Nellie?
No, he comes for mail, because I have to give him a good mail. I make sure he has to have something.
Darren has convictions for drug use and theft, and he caused trouble for elderly residents at Nellie's last home.
We're getting complaints with regards to males coming to the property. Last Wednesday night, between about 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, outside the back door, there was a group of people.
People?
Yes.
Oh, she must be joking. When was this?
Last Wednesday night.
Set up. No way. There were no group of people at that time of the night.
Thank you.
Many of the complaints centre on Nellie's shed, where neighbours suspect drug taking is going on.
One of the complaints is they're just congregating out here.
Why, though? Why?
Has it got something to do with what's in here?
I don't think so, no. It's all rubbish what's in there, a lot of it, you know. And,
Should we just have a look inside and just see?
With it,
It's not even locked.
Yeah, that, no.
Wow, there's a lot of rubbish in there.
That's part of that guard thing, you know.
There's a box of needles there as well, Nellie. You can just see them there, so... Listen, I'll close this up for you, Nellie, but don't go in there again, OK? All right.
Although Nellie is new to the sheltered bungalows, she's been a tenant with the Housing Association for 16 years, and they've had to deal with Darren on numerous occasions.
Thanks, yeah. Thank you. She's saying he's not been coming round, he's not been staying over, his friends haven't been coming in the back, but yet there's evidence there. And then you look at her past, and you realise this has happened before. She also won't have bad words said against him either.
Nellie has brought up her grandson Darren since he was a week old.
He's a quiet lad, really, but he has been in trouble. Like earlier on, when drug scene was on, you know, it was awful in the same side at that time. Everybody got mixed up in it, you know, yeah. And he's got through that now, you know, yeah.
Neighbour Bev lives on one side of Nellie, and on the other is Phil. They've been scared by groups of men using the shed late at night, and they no longer feel safe in their homes.
Well, you just said to me one night you're getting a lot of noise, didn't you? And then I said to Bev, yeah, and I can hear things at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning in the back. Yeah. I said, I've come out a couple of times and I've seen a few things, you know.
You know, at first I thought, oh, it's a noise of first moving into the property, stuff to do, but carried on, and all this noise in the middle of the night, doors banging and noises. I don't even know what they were. I mean, for a lady of 89, you wouldn't expect this sort of noise that's going... And it's not the old lady, obviously, it's him coming in and out at all hours, you know.
But the other guy came knocking on the door one morning, didn't he? Well, you wasn't here, but he come knocking, can you take this stuff to the scrapyard? He was like this. You could see it in his eyes, it was absolutely... His pupils were so big, it was unbelievable. You know what they'd been doing.
Housing officer Lee Barrett manages almost 1,000 households in Pendle, East Lancashire. Today, he's on his way to visit a tenant whose neighbours believe he may be keeping a banned dangerous breed of pit bull terrier.
There has been some allegations that the dogs are dangerous dogs. Pit bulls, maybe Staffordshire bull terriers, I'm not entirely sure, but we need to figure out exactly what is the best course of action here.
Maz keeps his dogs in a makeshift kennel outside, and his neighbours have reported that they've been escaping from his garden.
Hi, it's Lee from Housing Pendle.
You all right?
Yeah, you OK? We just got the two.
Sorry? Come on, let's go.
If Maz can't keep his pets under control, he may need to choose between them and his home.
Just thinking the dark one looked quite vicious to me. I can see why other people might be frightened of it.
5-year-old Elise lives next door with her mum and dad, Eddie and Nicola. The family are so afraid of the dogs, they haven't used their back garden for more than a year.
I was doing the garden, and then the dogs tried to bounce into next door, basically bounce into here to try and get me. Obviously, I'm a grown man with a hedge trimmer in my hands, going off, and the dogs are still trying to get me, so obviously Nicola and I had concerns about Elise playing in the back garden. We don't want to risk her going outside, playing in the garden. We turn away for a second, and a dog runs through. It won't matter if it's a staff cross pit or a Labrador. If it was barking and growling and trying to get through a fence, we still feel exactly the same. Well, we don't want to be those statistics, we want to be the couple in paper.
Pit bulls are banned under the Dangerous Dogs Act, and because Lee is concerned that these dogs may be illegal, he's called in the local dog warden.
What are they called?
That's King.
King.
And this is Nick.
So have you got any paperwork or anything with the dogs?
No, I didn't see. That's, I didn't.
You see, so you need to make sure when you're buying a dog of what you're buying, or...
See, well, there you go. See, I wanted a dog, right, to play with, right, and I ended up, I don't know what with it, so,
two big
it's like...
staffy types. My concern is that the pit bull types and pit bull types are illegal. The banned breed. You're not supposed to keep them in the UK.
Are these?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? You're going to work me down.
I'm not sure.
To that?
It's not. It's not my decision to make that. It's a gentleman that works for the police that decides that. Okay.
As the warden suspects the dogs are illegal pit bull types, she refers them to the police. If Maz's dogs are confirmed as pit bull types, they may be destroyed.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I'm Peter Clough. I'm from Bradfield Police Station. Basically, the dog warden's got concerns about your two dogs there. She's worried that they might be a Section 1 dangerous dog. Obviously, if it turns out that they're not a Section 1 dangerous animal, then you will get them back. Okay, all right.
What I don't want you to do is get upset with your neighbours and things like that, because it's not their fault at all, they were concerned because of the children more than anything else.
I suppose, yeah.
Maz has agreed to hand over his dogs for identification. But it could now be several weeks before he knows what will happen to them.
I've got it. That's it. Easy as that.
At the sheltered scheme in Hyde, the complaints about convicted drug user Darren have escalated. Neighbour Phil believes he's witnessed drug dealing right outside his back door, and he's scared of being broken into.
I've seen these people, how desperate they can get. And if they get really desperate, I don't care who they are, when they're taking them drugs, they'll be in here.
Phil moved into the sheltered scheme a year ago because of his difficulty walking. He's recently been going to extreme lengths to feel safe in his own home.
It may never happen, but I'm not going to push things. That gets lots. It's not going to do a lot, but it just... Again, you're going to get in. It's going to make a noise, and this goes behind it as well here. I just put this behind it. Put that back up. If somebody tries it, it pushes off. It's not going to stop them getting in, but I can hear the noise. It wakes me up. It's upsetting. I'd never live like this and never want to live like this again.
Phil feels safer sleeping on the sofa so he can react quickly if someone tries the back door.
And I've got to leave my head that way so that if anything does happen, I'm up.
This morning, Martin is back to see Nellie, this time with a fellow enforcement officer, Pam Hollingsworth.
So we've got concerns that people are coming to your property, younger people. They're obviously not coming to see you. They're perhaps coming looking for your grandson.
Nellie, can I have a look in your shed again, just like we discussed last time?
I think so now. We'll have to keep it.
Don't touch it, Nellie. You see this? Nellie, you see this? You see that? That's a syringe. Pam, there's still some syringes in this shed, some drug paraphernalia.
Because of the growing evidence and number of complaints, Pam and Martin will now take some form of action against Nellie's grandson, Darren. There are 4.5 million people on the waiting list for social housing, but many of those will never secure a home. Most housing associations work on a strict points-based system, and it's those with the most points and the greatest need who get the homes.
There is a myth surrounding social housing in that if you're a young single girl and you happen to fall pregnant, that you would automatically be granted a property, and that really isn't the case. We have many applicants from many different walks of life that suffer from different circumstances.
Sometimes an unexpected change in circumstance can send people who never expected to need social housing straight to the top of the list. 58-year-old Jane is in desperate need of somewhere to live. Up until 6 months ago, she had her own private house and a full-time job managing a nursing home. But she lost both of them after a circulatory illness led to the amputation of her right leg.
Shall I introduce you to Elizabeth? So this is my leg, but my sort of first leg. Apparently you graduate to different legs. What I have to do, that's like a sock that I wear on my stump, because the stump actually goes inside there. I have no doubt there will be plenty of other Elizabeths along the way. But at the moment it's a pretty crude thing, but I will eventually have one that's covered in, you know, which flesh-coloured, which will look more like a leg.
Jane's old home could not be adapted for her disability.
Previously, my house was a 2-up, 2-down little terraced house with very steep stairs. Well, with the best will in the world, there's no way I could have got up and down these stairs.
Jane's 3 grown-up children offered to have their mum move in, but none of their homes were suitable for a wheelchair. Jane's now been in hospital for 6 months, and she can't be discharged until an appropriate property is found.
I've had enough of hospitals now. I want to get back to some form of normality. You know, I've seen quite a few people go home, and I've not gone home yet, and so I'm ready for it to be my turn.
Social housing is now Jane's best chance of finding a home. Shauna Hildersley is the lettings manager at her local housing association.
There are some properties, whether they be privately owned or whether they be rented privately, that are just totally unsuitable for adaptation for whatever reason. And what we can offer is an alternative to that. We can look for specific properties that are suitable for adaptations, or alternatively, we already have some adapted properties that will suit people's needs.
In Hyde, there's been no sign of an end to the problems at the sheltered bungalows, and Martin is on his way back there.
Obviously, I've asked Nellie, does Darren live here, several times. No, he doesn't, which is fine. So now I have to prove that he does.
Today, Martin is installing secret video cameras overlooking Nellie's bungalow to gather evidence against Darren. He's also using Phil's house to position a camera directly on the shed.
That's roughly what it's going to look like, give or take. I'll move it out with this window frame.
It's actually shocked me, really. An 89-year-old lady, really. Don't think to get it. If it was mine, I don't think my grandson would be getting away with it, that's for sure. He wouldn't be doing it at all.
Sometimes...
I know, this is it.
I think love is blind sometimes.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water, as they say, don't they, sometimes?
It is, regardless of the consequences.
Yeah, that's it,
Any activity at the rear of the property, criminal or not, I'm interested in seeing what's going on there.
Yeah, so that's it, really. We just have to see what comes over the weekend and what the camera picks up now.
Any footage captured could be used in court if the Housing Association decided to take action against Darren and apply for an injunction to exclude him from the bungalows.
If I didn't have the team or the resource to deal with antisocial behaviour, I dread to think what would happen, because if you can't deal with the problem doesn't go away. And if you can't deal with the problem becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we're back to where we were possibly 10 years ago or worse.
In East Lancashire, Maz is missing his dogs.
Dogs mean a lot to me. For some people, they're just dogs. But to me, they're everything. If I have my dogs back, I'll do anything. They say, block your garden off so it's a secure place so they can't escape. I'll do that. If they have to be neutered, I'll do it.
It's been 2 weeks since the police confiscated his pets, and today, Maz will learn their fate. He's hoping they haven't been identified as banned pit bull types.
You wouldn't believe it. I can't explain, how my heart is feeling right now. It's just thinking, what is he going to say to me, so... Yes, I'm okay.
Your dogs have been assessed.
Yeah.
And the officer, despite his first impressions, has measured them, and they're actually he's assessed them as staffy types.
Right.
Big staffs, but they're not pit bulls.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So.
You're all right.
I'm so happy. You wouldn't believe it how happy I am. You know that.
I can imagine. I will be with you shortly and bring your dogs back to you.
Okay, you know what? I'll be waiting for you. If I could get flowers and put them outside on the footpath, I'll do it, Can you believe that? Can you? I can't, look at the happiness on me. Here we go. I'm so happy, you know that?
Yes. We're going here.
Sorry, I don't want to be...
Yeah, stay there. Yeah, I think it's... Yeah. Okay. Are you... You're back.
Maz's dogs are legal, but the Housing Association still won't allow him to keep them if they continue to intimidate his neighbours.
Niku, come here.
Next door, they are far from happy that the dogs are back.
You don't see collies, you don't see Labradors, you don't see Chihuahuas in the paper for attacking kids. You see pit bull terriers, staff cross, Rottweilers. And they're very, very territorial. They're very, very protective. You know, if they get out, they see somebody, they latch onto it and they don't let go, and that's that. And I don't want that happening to my little girl. I don't want to risk it. No one's ever going to put their kids in danger like that. So we've been looking into moving now. So we've been looking around, haven't we?
Yeah.
Is that one of the options? We don't want to move away from home.
I want to stay because I like it here, but then it doesn't seem worth it, does it?
No.
So the neighbours can feel safe in their homes, Housing Officer Lee has asked Maz to build a solid fence to prevent the dogs escaping.
Are you still going to put the mesh?
Yeah, the mesh is going to go across. There's going to be another, like a post going across. Right. It's going to be a mesh on it, yeah. And then I'm going to block all that off at the back.
Right, OK. The thing that he's got there at the minute is just not acceptable whatsoever, not suitable. It definitely needs to be a better job than the thing that's in existence in the back garden at the moment.
Unless a secure fence is built, Maz won't be able to keep his dogs. It's been 2 weeks since the surveillance cameras were installed at the sheltered bungalows. And Martin has come to check the footage from the camera at Phil's house.
I heard shuffling outside and I just looked to see it in the shed, but I don't know what the camera's picked up because I've not touched it.
Right, so OK, well, we'll have a look at the footage, the quality, and see what we think. Let's have a look then, what he was doing.
Keep fingers crossed, but he definitely went in that shed, definitely.
I'll have a look.
There you go, there he is.
There
he is.
Got his carrier bag there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his Tesco shopping again.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll take the machine away and I'll burn this to disk as evidence for use in court, Phil. All right.
See you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Back at the office, Martin is viewing more evidence of Darren at the bungalows, this time at night.
Darren returned to property at 23:02 and then leave 9 o'clock in the morning. He's at least stayed the night. He's going to struggle to deny that. Well, this is 1:10 in the morning. We've just got Darren leaving Nellie's property by the front door. 2 a.m. We've got an unknown male on a bike approaching Nellie's property. Clearly knows where he's going. Darren returning to the property now at 5:01 a.m. after leaving ridiculously early and having visitors in between that as well, so again, that's not really the normal behaviour of a visitor at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't go and visit your grandmother at that time. No one does.
Now there's proof Darren is living at Nellie's sheltered bungalow, Pam and Martin need to decide what action to take.
Ultimately, you know, we evict people if we have to, and it is always a last resort. Obviously, being ever mindful of her age and, you know, frailty that goes with being 89, I guess. We don't want to do that. That wouldn't serve anything. It's one of those cases where you're trying to juggle everything and at the same time take appropriate action. He's the main cause of the problem, so we want to deal with him.
With their video evidence, Pam and Martin now have a stronger case if they decide to apply for an injunction to stop Darren from going near the bungalows.
The injunction is a tool to try and encourage people to moderate their behaviour. It has the benefit or the power of a power of arrest that can be attached. So it's quite severe, the potential penalties for breach, but it's something that hopefully you can work with your tenants, with the injunction to protect other people in the area, to try and encourage that change in behaviour and make sure that the problems that were occurring are now ceased.
In Glossop, Jane is keen to leave the hospital and get on with her life. She's been ready to go for the past 2 months, but she's still waiting for a new home to become available.
I intend walking into my new life, not wheeling in. walking in. Start as I mean to go on.
Learning to walk again is going to take time, but Jane is determined her disability won't prevent her from returning to her old job.
1, 2. It'll be another, I don't know, month or so before I can go back to work. But I won't be able to do like the 50 hours a week I used to do. I'll have to know my own limitations. So it'll all be new. And then I'm so used to having a car, I'll have to work out, you know, about whether I can afford a car, because I hate being dependent on other people all the time.
Jane's 3 grown-up children have been trying to come to terms with what's happened to their mum. But it's been even harder for her elderly parents.
I mean, I'm very lucky both my parents are still alive, but they're in the mid-80s and they don't want to... My mum sometimes, when she rings... Hello, Jane, it's Mum here. Just wondering where you are and what you've been up to today. Have you been anywhere? No, Mum, just the usual, just my exercises and things. Oh. We just thought it was such a lovely day, your father and I. We thought you might have been out. No, darling, I've not been out. Oh, all right then. You put the phone down and you think, ooh, for Christ's sake. So, just... We'll get there in the end.
Shauna Hildersley from the local housing association may just have some good news for Jane. A bungalow on a sheltered scheme has come up. Shauna has arranged to meet the warden, Julie, to see if it's suitable.
They were looking to put a stair lift in the privately rented property that she was in, but it wasn't practical to do that. So what's happened is that she's had to give that property up, and she's technically now what they call bed blocking in Shire Hill in hospital. They can't release her from hospital because she's got nowhere to go, and she needs a new property to move into. We're hoping to show her around today. She'll come in, have a look and see if it's suitable for her needs. She's bringing the occupational therapist from the hospital, so if there's any minor aids or adaptations that need doing, they'll be assessed here and now to make sure that this is adequate for Jane to move into.
Properties like this are rare. If it's not suitable, it could be a long time before another one becomes available.
So I'm going up with the good leg.
Pretty good, yeah.
And over.
Fantastic.
Right. So I want to make sure doors and things are wide enough for wheelchair access. So once I've got in, I'll go in my wheelchair. It's just that wheelchairs are a bit awkward to get up steps and things. Well, there's no problem with the door widths, is there?
Yeah. You know, these properties don't very often come up, really, to be quite honest. It can be adapted, and only minimally, really. I think she'll be very happy. She'll be fine.
Right.
That's your cooker point here.
Although Jane has never lived in social housing, this house could be her best chance of leaving the hospital.
That will get done later on this year, and you will get your own choice.
I was a bit nervous this morning. Yes, I thought, oh gosh, what happens if I get inside and it's just not what I want? You know, people are here from the housing association and I'll get inside and say, I'm sorry, but I don't like it. No, I am pleasantly surprised, definitely. It's nice and quiet. Everywhere looks nicely kept across the road and everything. I'm very pleased.
Good.
I'm very pleased.
This looks ideal to me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Jane wants to take the bungalow, but before she can move in, it will need to be adapted. She'll have to wait another month before it's ready.
Good. Okay.
Pam and Martin are back at Nellie's bungalow on the Hyde sheltered scheme. With so much video evidence of Darren at the property, they want to have another look around before taking more serious action.
OK, thank you.
Why don't you tell me?
Well, I did make an appointment with you last week.
No, Sam.
Do you want us to do it now and get it over and done with, or do you want us to come back?
I'm most of the day today.
Should we go somewhere?
She going out?
Go out with them, right, yeah.
Sorry, are you Darren?
Right, OK, so do we know when's the best time to do the property inspection? The time and date? Next week. Do you want to do it next week, or do you want to do it now?
Next week.
It was quite clear in that visit. His PlayStation was switched on. The bedroom was full of his stuff, tracksuit pants and such. You can't say they're his grandmother's. So we can easily prove he's living there.
The situation with Darren is so bad that Phil is thinking about leaving his bungalow.
Things are going to change very quickly, I'm afraid. Well, I've been offered a flat today in Old Trafford. I don't know whether I'll go or not. I've been given till Wednesday to make my mind up over it. So, we'll just see. As I say, I don't want to really leave here, but is this going to go on? Is it going to continue? I don't know how much more we can take of it, really, you know. But Saturday night, it was a disgrace on Saturday night here. Banging on the door, coming on bikes. Yeah, so what is it? These are old people's bungalows.
With clear evidence that Nellie's grandson is living with her, Pam and Martin want to help her understand that the sheltered scheme is no place for Darren.
There are a few things that we need to talk to you about. Darren's causing a lot of upset, and I know he's your grandson and you don't want to say anything bad about him, but the fact is he can't be there and you're going to get in trouble. But more importantly,
well, I can't do without him. He's had me since... I've had him since he's been a week old. He's lived with me since he's been a week old.
I do understand that you care and you want to do the right thing by Darren, but the concerns are that Darren now, as you say, is nearly 39. He's a grown man, and by him being at your property, it's causing problems.
Darren's going to have to get his own place. He can't be residing at your property. He's not allowed to be there, Nellie. In the meantime, me and Pam are trying to get you some help in your day-to-day living so you won't be reliant on Darren.
I don't want anybody coming helping me. Nobody, right? Oh.
I would just ask you to have a think about it seriously.
If needs be, we will go to court and get an order against Darren to stop him being there, Nellie.
Well, you have to do what you are. I'm going, I've had enough now. But I'm definitely not listening. I know you mean well in your way.
So even with a lady who's nothing to do with New Charter?
I don't want no help from anybody
okay.
else, right?
All right.
Okay, then.
She's so fixed in this codependent relationship that they've got with each other that he will always be with her, in terms of her vulnerability. And despite all this, and despite the fact she's obviously a stubborn, old, proud lady, she's still vulnerable. And, I'd really wish she'd have taken on board some of the offers of support that we've tried, but we can't force her, so it's a shame.
Jane's big day has arrived. After 7 months in hospital, she's finally moving into her new home. With the help of sister Sally and her husband Mac, Jane is unpacking the belongings she hasn't seen in months.
She pushed this box towards me and she said, "Don't sit there like a total cripple, you can undo a box."
Sisters, she's only lost a leg, not lost the use of everything else.
This is the beauty of having a good family. They've all been, there. My kids, brother, sister, my mum and dad, bless them, if they could have got up and come down on the Zimmer frame, they would have done, so I'm very fortunate with my family. Very fortunate.
Where does this go?
Jane's eldest daughter Victoria is also helping. Jane wants to spend the first night in the bungalow alone.
The plan is because Jane's going to stay here tonight, is to make it as safe as possible for her. So we want to get rid of one of the settees so she's got a clear way to get through the lounge, into the kitchen, be able to get into bed and go to the bathroom.
It sounds silly because I know she's got to do it at some point, but she's been in hospital for 7 months, so it's a long time to not have to fend for yourself, isn't it? So we'll just have to see how it goes.
She's always a worrier, isn't she?
She's got to be on her own. And that's why I said I don't want her to be the last one to go. I want her to say, right now, you get off now. Because I know what she's like. She'll dither and do, don't want to go, I shouldn't leave you. Then she'll drive off upset, and then it'll either me with her driving.
And your heartless sister will just shut the front door and go.
Yeah, you'll just say I'm off. Oh, my God, I can't have that.
Until you've got more mobility without the wheelchair, you won't get the wheelchair through there with the 2 settees. So the only thing we can do, just for tonight, is put the settee like that. It's absolutely safe like that. It's not going to fall on you.
Right, OK.
Yeah?
It's not, is it? It's for the rest of my frigging life now.
The settee isn't for the rest of your life on there.
The wheelchair isn't either.
And the wheelchair isn't either, because once you get your proper prosthetic leg fitted, you're not going to be in a wheelchair, are you? It's the first night. First night you're in your own home, in your bungalow, not in a hospital. Just try and think a little bit more positive and think, right, I'm here. I'm here now. This is it, and I'm going to get on with it.
She won't shut up. She'll just carry on forever. You know she's like.
No, I won't shut up. No. They're trying to be funny now, saying I won't shut up. But I won't bloody shut up. And it's just a settee on the side.
I don't like it.
Tough shit.
Don't see where I go from.
Yeah. Want that one.
Yeah, but you're not having that one.
Don't like it, want that one. I like everything in its place. But this is where I've got to learn I can't at the moment. So
I think we're all quite trying to be like, oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that, and all a bit, you know, bravado. But really, at the end of the day, it's quite heartbreaking, really.
Right, you can all go now.
We're not going yet till I can see that you can get into the bedroom.
No.
I'm still Victoria. Please go, Victoria, go now. Because you're going to make me cry in a minute.
Oh, you're too stone-hearted for that.
Get out.
I can't go.
You can go. Just go. Go, go, go. Please go now.
Right, Mum, I've got to go.
Right, well, let me just plug this in and then I want you to pump me in.
No, because you're just going to...
Listen, look at me. I will be perfectly fine. Right, I'm in my chair, so I haven't got to get up and down from the settee, so I'm not likely to totter and fall. Right? I should be perfectly fine. I want you to get off. But ring me when you get home. Please don't forget. Right? Come on now. Come on. I'm fine. It's 25 past 9.
Okay.
I expect to have heard from you by 10:30.
Okay, bye.
You okay?
Okay. I'll text you when I'm home.
Okay, yes, please. So that's it. Here. Home.
In East Lancashire, Maz has spent the last 6 weeks constructing a fence, which he hopes will mean he can keep his dogs. Today, Lee has organised a fence inspection.
Chris.
If it doesn't pass, Maz will have to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, well, that should be all right, yeah.
Yeah, you think that's
But
okay?
I would say it's probably going to need inspecting once every 12 months because of the fact that it isn't treated timber.
That's fair enough. All right.
The fence may be homemade, but it's passed the inspection.
Thanks a lot.
Now Lee should be able to close the case.
As things stand, I'm pretty happy with the way things are. I think we've come to the right resolution in the end, so hopefully everyone's happy, and that's what I set out to do in the start.
With the new fence up, Nicola and Eddie finally feel happier using their back garden again.
She always wants to play in the garden now, that's it. Now the garden's done. From the moment she wakes up to the moment she goes to bed, it's the garden. But she loves it, she's happy, so it's great.
Pam and Martin have succeeded in gaining an injunction preventing Darren from visiting the sheltered scheme.
We're attending court this morning. Darren didn't show up. The judge ruled in his absence that we're having an exclusion order with a power of arrest attached to it, which would last 12 months, as from this Friday at 4 p.m.
If Darren breaches the injunction, he could face up to 6 months in prison.
It says here, just let me explain it to you. You can go and see your solicitor anyway, can't you? You know what it means? Right, what it does mean is that you can't live here from Friday. And you can't come to this area.
Come visit now. Can't stop me.
Well,
we can't stop me.
With this, it's got something called a power of arrest.
Right.
So that means that if you are found here, the police will come and arrest you.
You arrested me then. I'll come and see me now when I want.
In Hyde, Jane is settling into her new bungalow. And today, lettings manager Shona has come to see how she's getting on.
Hello. Hey, Jane. Come in. I'm fine, thank you. Long time no see.
It is.
I think we were bare boards and...
Undecorated.
Undecorated and everything, yeah. I used to say, you know, come on, take me back to the bungalow, but now it's, come on, we'll go home now. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you've got it lovely. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Good.
It really is
Good.
nice. And is this what you expected to feel like this? You know, when you came out of hospital,
I don't quite know
what
I expected.
Yeah. It was a lot, wasn't it, to take in?
Social housing, you know, you think of the old council houses and then sheltered accommodation, you think, oh, God. You know, and buzzers and cords and things. But, no, I can't... I've nothing whatsoever to complain about. I'm glad you've come. I'm glad you're pleased with it.
Oh, it's lovely.
I'm delighted with it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
"12 days after the injunction was issued, Darren is arrested for breaching it.
I feel that I've helped to try and stop it. You know, I'm a person in society that's tried to combat this. I mean, I know these housing associations and people like them they can't do it on their own. They need help from the public. You need help from the public, the tenants, the people who, you know, we're a good set of people on this block. And we just, it's just a shame it's come to this. It's just a total shame it's all come to this.
Darren was given a 6-month suspended sentence.
On the way for BBC One, a young offender returns and a reformed drug addict prepares to leave. Girls Behind Bars, next.